In the far future, where wars are fought with the might of battle mechs, Without Question tells the tale of Kanji Chistu as he struggles to keep Clan Jade Falcon alive in the occupation zone his predecessor abandoned in her failed bid to conquer Terra. Though it's a sequel to Brian Young's award-winning novel A Question of Survival, Without Question serves as a perfect on-ramp for anyone interested in jumping into the Ill Clan era and the current battletech timeline. The new Khan of Clan Jade Falcon has to fight for the very soul of his clan and their stronghold of Sudaden as Clan Hell's horses invade, and they experience attacks from within and without. With shocking twists and turns, the latest installment of the battletech mythos will have you hanging on by the edge of your seat. Releasing May 15th, Without Question is available for pre-order now, and you won't want to miss it.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new Tuesday Newsday. I'm Rem, Community and Marketing Director for Catalyst Game Labs, and I have a fun guest and friend of mine, Grendel! Hi.
Hey, Ram, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too. Because I choke on my own spit there. Grendel is a demo agent and one of the members of Vector Tridens who has done a Kickstarter that's live for just a couple more days. And gosh, you guys have been running on this for over a year. How does it feel to see it finally live?
It's been really rewarding. It's taken a lot of work. We put in a lot of cycles on trying to get everything as polished as we could before pushing it forward to the masses, and we've been really kind of overwhelmed by the speed at which people have responded positively to the effort. So it's been really gratifying to see our hard work rewarded.
Awesome.
We are only live for a few more days, but we are hoping to maybe make one of our stretch goals. So
cool, awesome, and we'll be talking more about that. I do have a couple of news items for everyone before we get started here. So Mercenaries shipping update. I know some people have seen shipping get updated in their accounts already. It has not gone through for everyone, and there's still a couple of tweaks going in and out and stuff like that. So please hold questions and messages and stuff like that until you get word that everything is uploaded through a backer update. Because then we can actually pick out the anomalies and not the stuff that that might be fixed anyway with these uploads going on right now. So hang tight with that. We're getting closer and closer. Battletech has a Humble Bundle for fiction that's live for 2 more days. I'm going to get the link in chat here. It's a ton of books for a real low price. So check it out so that you guys can get in on that before it is gone. Another little update for you guys. I just found out about an hour before this that a new premium miniature has gone live on the Catalyst store. It's the Mad Dog Vulture. So I have a link for you guys for that today. Boop. There you go. we saw in the commercial that there's the new Shadowrun actual play. Episode 2 just aired last night, but that is weekly on Six Sides of Gaming on YouTube. So you can check that out at the link I posted a couple of minutes ago in chat through the Catalyst account. Gosh, I'm just rushing through all the news. I just want to talk about Vector Tridens. So the last piece I have for you for now is that friend of Catalyst and prolific sci-fi and fantasy writer Kevin J. Anderson. He's one half of the writing team that still writes all the current Dune novels, and he's a consultant for the script for the movies. He's written for Star Wars. He's written for X-Files. He's done so much. He's over 180 published works. He has a Kickstarter that launched today. It's already blown past 400% funded and is still climbing, so you guys should check that out. The link is in the description, but I'll also post it quickly in chat here for anyone that wants to browse while we are talking. Boop. Awesome. So let's see. Other than that, I have the link for Holostreets, or for Exit Vector. So I'm going to post that in the chat too as we get started talking about this. So first thing I want to do, Grendel, is kind of get to know you. So tell us a little bit about your history, and because I know it's going to relate to the game itself as we start talking about that. So
my history is long and sordid. I've been a gamer for years and years. Started, I think, where a majority of us started it in the hobby when I was in middle school with friends. And to show my age a little bit, we started out with the old Dungeons and Dragons box sets, the actual colored box sets where you'd have like the red box or the blue box for base of that. And then it just kind of grew from there. I tried out a bunch of different systems. I dabbled in the old storyteller, like the first generation White Wolf stuff, vampire and werewolf. And then I did some of the Palladium games, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Palladium role playing, the Rifts stuff. And then in 1989, I was browsing my hobby store that I used to frequent in the mall, and I saw a new hardcover book there, which had this beautiful cover by Larry Elmore, and that was Shadowrun First Edition.
Ooh.
And I didn't get it actually. My buddy who I was with, Dana, bought it. He was like, "Hey, we got to play this game." I'm like, "All right." Well, we were like, hip deep in another Spelljammer campaign and like hip deep in a vampire campaign. I'm like, "Why are we getting a new game? We already have like 3 that we're doing." He's like, "No, seriously, we got to do this." And good on him for bringing it to our attention, because as soon as we dove into the world, there was really, really no looking back. I've never really found a better mix of all things, all storytelling elements. You have, high tech, you have magic, you have, virtual reality, you have like mystic lore. It all rolls into one. It all feeds off everything else. And there's so many possibilities when it comes to telling stories and building characters and having, adventures and missions and high drama and melodrama and all the great things that make for, fun times around the table. And I've played Shadowrun through 6 editions now. Kind of unfortunately settled into like the permanent GM role, especially since I've, joined the demo team back in like 2003, 2002, I think.
Oh,
was
wow.
when I'm bored. Yeah, it was. So as a game master, like I love telling stories. Like the thing that I like about role playing is I really love being able to tell stories. And the interactive and the collaborative nature of role playing really appeals to me. And I've been a long time Gen Con fan as well. Like I've been going to Gen Con for I don't think I can say the number of years, but it's been over 20 years that I've been going to Gen Con. And at first when I went, I was strictly a player. I loved going to back when Gen Con was in Milwaukee. I loved going to the Mecca Center. Like it really, it kind of felt like going to Mecca. Like you would show up to the con and you and 100,000 of your best gamer friends would be there. And it was really like coming home and coming to a place where, everyone was there for the same reason. Like everyone accepted who you were. It didn't really, matter like what game you were into or what character you played or whatever was going on. You were all there to like play games and have fun. And there was a great sense of like community and camaraderie. And back in 2002, I had come to Gen Con and I was playing in the Shadowrun tournament. And at that point in time, the Shadowrun tournament was a 3-day elimination event. Like if you didn't pass like the first 2 days, you didn't make it to the
Oh, wow.
third round to be considered for the prize. So it was very competitive. People would show up with their teams already formed. It was like a very aggressive sense of like, let's figure the mission out. Let's get to the answers. Let's get the points that we need to make in order to pass through. And the first night that we were there, my team and I sat down, and the game master that came up to the table to like run us through the adventure was not actually a game master. She was a freelance writer. She had never GM'd the game before.
Ooh.
So we didn't do so well, as you might
Oh,
imagine.
no.
Because this was like, 2002, this was back third edition, where it was, an extensive rule set, pretty crunchy, lots of, intricacies to deal with. And I mean, good on her. She tried the best she could, but it was a very frustrating experience for me to come to the convention and not be able to compete the way that I wanted to. So after that event, I went over and I found the demo team lead. And I'm like, hey, how do I get on board this organization? And they gave me the paperwork to fill out, and it's been, I've been trying to support the demo team as much as I can ever since.
That's awesome.
Because I feel very strongly that, people that come to the conventions, like this may be the only time that they actually get to play Shadowrun like with other people the entire year. They take time off from work, they take time off with their family, they travel, they pay money for a badge, they pay money for a hotel. It really is incumbent on us as the demo team to give them like the best like Shadowrun gaming experience that we can. And I'm very passionate about, supporting our players and giving back to the player base, because like the players really make like our job worthwhile.
Cool.
Like sitting around a table and telling a story with them and seeing someone who has brought their missions character and they're ready to play, they're excited, and you have a chance to like shine the spotlight on them, and they get to do the one thing that they built their character to do, and their faces light up and they get all descriptive, and like everyone at the table is like cheering, like having that moment and being able to facilitate those moments for players, like it makes everything all worthwhile.
Now you cosplay when you're a demo agent.
I do.
Tell us about your cosplay.
Um, I am a huge fan of immersive storytelling as well. So I like backdrops, I like maps, I like props. I like, if we were in a quieter room in the con, I would play music. And I really think that, dressing up as a character, dressing up as an NPC, having that illusion in front of you helps to, get people in the mindset, get people to break out of the idea that, oh, we're just, friends sitting around a table and we're just telling a story, and actually like we're going to be our characters. We're going to like emote and act and like talk like our characters are going to do. I think it brings an extra level of drama and excitement to the table.
That's awesome. Love it. Now, Vector Tridens is made up of Army vets, correct?
Most of us are Navy veterans.
Navy,
actually.
okay.
Yeah, we're Navy veterans. It's Chopper's fault. He was the force behind it all. Kind of, he tells a story about how during lockdown, all of us rediscovered, Google Meets and Zoom, and being able to like, get online at all hours of the night and chat again and reconnect and really, regain that sense of group camaraderie that we had back when we first started gaming together. And it was his idea to, pretty much be like, why not?
That's awesome.
We've got the experience, we've got the time, we have the desire, we've got the motivation, got the vision. Like, why should we just talk about it? Let's just do it.
Yeah. Awesome. So who was Chopper the initial concept designer, I guess, of Exit Vector.
Yes, yeah. His vision was always to, you know, he plays a rigger, I play a rigger, and we're immersed in the rigger rules. We're vehicle guys. And a lot of the times that we see at the convention when we'll write, rigger scenes into the tournament or into missions, like the demo GMs will like kind of exhale in frustration, be like, God damn it, why do we have to deal with the rigger rules again? You know, and so our goal was always to, support the GMs and make their job easier. So we started kicking around an idea of like, how can we bridge this gap between, having a rule set that accurately represents the dynamics of the speed and dynamics of vehicle combat and vehicle interaction, in a high tech setting, and yet make it friendly enough and fast enough that in a 4-hour missions at a con, it does not come to dominate any part of that. Like we needed it to be able to, like, you could run a vehicle combat scene in like 35-40 minutes and then move on with the rest of the mission in order to get like the rest of the group, involved and into, succeeding it. So that was his vision, that was his desire. And we brought it up to the rest of us. He had the initial framework, and then we tore it down and built it back up, and tore it down and built it back up. And really it was a process of refining it to away from, what some of us like, which is like hyper crunchy rules, and like, at the same time not going all the way to like, let's just hand wave and do it cinematically. And I think we landed somewhere like really good in optimizing the rules that we've developed, to make it fun, first of all, because it is a game still, but to make it functional, very very physics based, very rules based, but fast and friendly, so that it doesn't, like, it's not intimidating.
So
GMs aren't intimidated by it, and players aren't intimidated by it.
yeah, so clearly, obviously, the inspiration behind it was Shadowrun Riggers, but
Correct.
one of the things that I kind of got a kick out of was that it's a aerial combat minis game that's hex based, so you can get your battletech players into that too, because they're used to the hex maps, they're used to the miniatures, playing with altitudes and stuff like that, which is fun. So I like that it one of the things about it is that it's system agnostic. So can you explain a little bit what that means for our viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. And that decision was made like from the get-go to Rem. It was designed with like malice aforethought to be as a broad appeal as possible. Because although, we are Shadowrun players, we realize that Shadowrun is just a small part of the larger like miniatures and role-playing community. So if we could have a set of rules where, it's based on math, and if we can adapt the math to the particular game set, rule set that you're playing with, Traveler, Cyberpunk, battletech, whatever it is, then the rules themselves don't need to change. All we have to do is we just change the underlying math, and everything flows with it.
Yeah.
So it's the standalone minis game is what we kickstarted. Our Holostreet Shadowrun version of it is up on Holostreets, and it still remains a firm goal of ours, is to produce, something that can be dropped into battletech to support, lambs and helos and aerospace assets. Then also things that can drop into Traveler, that can drop into, some of the other Starfighter, some of the other games out there that are really popular and that have, vehicle aspects, but may not have like robust vehicle combat rules that are user friendly.
Yeah. Um, so kind of the steps that you took for publishing so far, you got out the Shadowrun rule set on Holostreets. Tell us what
Correct.
that process was like, now that the community content marketplace is available.
Actually, it was really rewarding. We had a not insignificant amount of fear, like writing this initially, because we were, coming at it from, a love of Shadowrun, and we were using a lot of like Shadowrun iconography and terminology and things like that. And we were afraid that, if we brought this to Jason and the Catalyst team, they'd be like, yeah, no, like that's, you're treading on trademark stuff. So we kind of had this plan that if they said no, that we had an alternate version that kind of like divested all of that from the game. But they were very receptive. Like Jason was super receptive to our suggestion, and he was the one that recommended us to the Holostreets to venue. He said, "Hey, Catalyst is coming out with this. I recommend that you continue to develop using all like the Shadowrun trademarks, stuff like that, because as soon as the Holostreets is live, you can submit and it'll all be legal with the Creative Commons license and everything like that." So it was a relief, and it was a really, fun time working with Jason and hearing his feedback, and getting his help to allow us to bring, the Exit Vector Shadowrun expansion to Holostreets.
Yeah. So the people that purchased Holostreets, or the Holostreets version, they have the rule set, and now the Kickstarter they can come to for the minis themselves and maps and stuff like that.
And the map. The map's the important one.
Yeah.
Like,
so let's talk.
Like, I'm a map guy. I'm super excited about this map. Like that was like the largest significant investment that we made was the purchase of the aerial photography in order to get like a high res image that we could of Seattle to make a map of.
Yeah, go ahead and let's talk through the components in the Kickstarter. So, if they get that box set, what all comes in that box?
So we get a map, you get the minis, you get the dice, you get the basic Exit Vector rule set, which is only for the miniatures game. It's kind of like the system agnostic miniatures game. There's NPC cards in there, and then you get our nice little box.
Awesome.
For it as well.
And then I'm looking at the first image on there to draw from. So when and how do you get the terrain elements as well?
That's an excellent question, Rem.
I'm putting you on the spot.
My notes for that one. Yeah.
Let's see.
I'm not the fulfillment coordinator.
So at just $15, this is the lowest tier. You get the full digital set, so the PDF of the map, the digital tokens and cards, and a PDF of the rulebook. Then the Wingman at $25 gets you the printed map, tokens, cards, and the rulebook. Then at $49, you move up to the map, tokens, cards, rulebook, 4 dice, and 6 minis. So you get 1 PC mini, 1 interceptor, 2 roto drones, and 2 ground drones. So tell us about the minis. Like, which is your favorite, and like, tell us a little bit about the design.
So we partnered with Death Ray Designs to bring the minis up because, again, it's a pretty important concept for a miniatures game to actually have like, decent miniatures. And Death Ray Designs were super happy to collaborate with us. We had a real positive working relationship with them, and they were, very receptive to all of our ideas about, making, like tweaking some of the designs to make them a little more sustainable for packaging and for mounting and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of partial to the little roller drones that we have, which kind of represent like the anti-access area denial, security drones. I enjoy the concept of those guys being parked on buildings and just like, locking onto you and like dissuading any interloping aircraft from entering corporate airspace and stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of sprinkling those liberally around and forcing the players to maneuver aggressively out of their fields of fire.
Awesome. All right. So up to the $99 tier, you get the map, token cards, rulebook, 4 dice, 12 minis. So you go from the 6 minis to 12. You get 3 PC minis, the interceptor, 4 roto drones, and 4 ground drones. And that's the deluxe set. At $199 is the Ace Pilot, So you get the regular map, a 2 foot by 2 foot vinyl map. Tell us about that.
So when we first made the map, like we're all map guys, so we got this really high res aerial shot, and we put it on a 4 foot by 4 foot vinyl map. Like, this thing is huge. It covers an entire table at the con, but it is a beautiful map, just beautiful resolution. The colors pop right off it, and it really draws the attention. The problem is that it's impractical to ship and also expensive to produce. So we that was like one of the saddest moments of our, of making decisions about the Kickstarter, was when we were like, okay, we can't give everybody like this beautiful 4 foot by 4 foot map. So we're gonna have to cut it down to, just this 2 foot by 2 foot area around like the downtown of Seattle, including the Space Needle and stuff like that. But it is still like an impressive image, and is a great centerpiece for any kind of aircraft operations in the urban terrain.
Nice. So in addition to that, to both of those maps, you get the tokens, the cards, the rulebook, 4 dice, 18 minis, 4 PC, 2 interceptors, 6 rotodrones, and 6 ground drones. And then it gets up to the retailer tier and for gaming groups. And then the squadron lead as well, which is a really high level tier as well. So yeah, it's been really cool seeing the Kickstarter in actions, getting all of the Shadowrun news and everything like that. What are some of your learnings about like creating like game design for aspiring gamers with that both are coinciding with an existing IP and a separate IP?
I don't know if I can draw any conclusions from a single data point. We've only done like one thing so far inside the Holostreets commons, but I think the biggest lesson for us really was to like reach out and ask.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we had all these questions about, if we were going to be allowed to use stuff, what we could say, things like that, and being able to reach out to you, to RJ, to Jason Hardy, via Discord and email, and just like set up a quick meeting and be like, hey, here's our idea. This is what we'd like to do. What's legal? What are you comfortable with? What's your recommendations? The receptiveness of the Catalyst team, and their openness to discuss the ideas with us was really the biggest learning point that we had, is that you can spend a whole lot of time like trying to war game out a whole bunch of different scenarios, but when it comes right down to it, just ask.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, and then scrolling through the Kickstarter page, I do see you have an interview that you did with Ginny Loveday. She works with Steamforged Games and is a delightful human being. And there's some playthroughs as well. So, interview on playthrough on First Turn Tabletop.
Yes.
Or First Turn Tabletop Thoughts. What was that?
And also, I think Chopper intended to put up another, I don't know if he did it, but he intended to put up another playthrough video 2 weeks ago. He spent an entire Sunday, so he's got like, I don't know, 7 hours worth of like playthrough video that he's been trying to chop up and push out on the Kickstarter page.
Awesome.
I don't know if it's up yet though, but that was his intention. So
cool. Yeah, I really like that from a Shadowrun perspective. You kind of touched on this, where if you have a chase scene or an extraction or something like that, and you don't love those Shadowrun rigor rules, or you want something that's more visual, easily you could clear the table, run exit Vector in 45 minutes, do a full chase scene. And if you have mages, you can use that. If you don't have mages, you don't have to use that, and have all of your players and the vehicles and drones get a turn. So really cool to be able to have something visual for the riggers to play. Cool. So don't forget. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm here for it. The whole concept was to ensure that Exit Vector's rules, especially for the Shadowrun side, pulled directly from, the 6th edition rules themselves.
Yeah.
So all the dice pools remain the same. And then you can, like you say, you can add in like your technomancers, your deckers, your mages. All of those rules are incorporated inside Exit Vector as well. So you can, the whole team can participate inside, the vehicle action, and it's not just the rigger's sole time to shine.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I know last year, last week, we ran out of time for some of our questions. So let's go ahead. If there's anything else you'd like to chime in on before I transition to questions, Grendel?
No, I'm good.
All right, 48 hours left to back the Kickstarter. The link is in chat. Thank you guys so much. And we'll jump on over then. So I'm going to start with questions for you. Florian asked, for Exit Vector, I've seen one play combined with Shadowrun. Will there be more gameplay vids, or where do I find more? Go ahead and point them. Talk about that for a minute, Grendel. I'm going to try to find the Gen Con TV ones we did a while back and see if I can find that one.
So the short answer is yes. The one difficulty that we have in recording Exit Vector in conjunction with Shadowrun rules is that typically when we do it, it is in a convention setting or a game setting. We haven't actually sat down and tried to run a game specifically to support content creation yet. We're a little old school in that we're, operations and results oriented. And this concept of doing things merely to, develop content to be put on the web is new to us. So short answer is yes, it's coming. We want more of it. We definitely, are here to support the game masters. We're here to, share as many tips and tricks and techniques as we can about, incorporating the Exit Vector rules, how to do it, best practices, and things like that. If there's any like specific things that you would like us to address or want us to talk about or have specific questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like, Vector Tridens socials. We're old school. It might take us a day, but we're there, we're listening. And we'd love to hear from you if you've got questions or recommendations or desires and what you want, what everyone wants to see.
I found it. Haha. So this one, we played it as an extraction within Shadowrun. There you go. For all of your actual play needs. All right. Prussian Havoc asks, for Grendel, what's your favorite Spelljammer ship? Nautiloid, Galleon, Hammer ship, or something else?
Oh, Lord. Taking me back. For all of those memories. I think for all the wrong reasons, I would have to say like the Nautiloid was one of my favorites, and mostly that had to do with the fact that was the one that had the predominantly like largest number of artworks about it. Like any Spelljammer, picture that you saw, there was a Nautiloid somewhere in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, at the impressionable young age I was at that point in time, I was like, yes, any ship that like is always everywhere, like that's the best one. So
awesome. Jason Mallory asked, you mentioned cosplaying and thematic settings for games. Do you have a go-to playlist or artist you use for soundtrack during your games?
So there's a couple of different soundboards out there that people have produced through the good of their heart and made free. I don't want to plug them right now because I don't want to dig through my links. But that's typically my go-to when I'm looking for atmospheric stuff. Otherwise, typically the only time I can play music is like during the intro to the game setup, and then kind of like at the end of the game. Everything else is, people are busy talking and playing and whatnot, and I don't want to overwhelm them with sensory inputs and things like that. But I have a couple of tracks that I've picked out from like the Cyberpunk 2077 soundtrack. And then there's a couple other like standalone electronic ones that I have for um, uh, in other cases. The theme to my home game, the Miami Shadows game that I'm running for my home group is Race Against Time by Pilot. I don't know if you've
Ooh,
heard it, but yeah, that was that's our group's chosen theme to for the shenanigans that are taking place down in the Caribbean League in Miami. So
awesome. Another question from Prussian Havoc. I noticed some ground units in your game. Just how much air ground integration is there?
so the game is primarily oriented towards aircraft and airborne units. The decision was made to kind of weight it towards that because when you look at the physics and the tactics of aircraft interacting on the battlefield, like we all kind of have an intrinsic understanding of like metahuman movement, right? We're pretty used to like how fast people move, and we're also pretty used to how fast ground vehicles move as well.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us are drivers. Most of us have seen cars, things like that, move on the freeways. We have a kind of intuitive understanding of like if you say someone's going like 60 kph or 120 kph, you kind of have an idea of like how fast that is. If someone says they're moving at 400 kph, right, that's a little bit more difficult to grasp. And if you want to measure like a city block as like a kilometer, 1,000 meters, then somebody moving at 400 kilometers per hour can like vanish from the urban battlefield in seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your airborne assets can be off, pretty much like off map, on map, have effects, do fires, drop troops off, whatever they want to do, and then be gone off the map.
Mm.
So having a rule set which like accurately kind of like or like compresses that interaction to the point where like those forces stay on the map was one of the guiding principles behind Exit Vector.
Cool.
So we are, the rules scale, the math scales for ground vehicles. It is just a little less exciting because your ground vehicles like are moving at a quarter of the speed, maybe a fifth the speed of your airborne vehicles.
Wow.
So your VTOLs, which are cranking out 4 hex movements at the same time as your ground team, are lumbering along like 1 hex at a time.
We'll
So
get
the
there.
interaction is there, but the math is there. It all works out. Like
Neat.
if you do the math, if you like, if you calculate out like the whole time, distance, and speed triangle, like everything all meshes out. So
Awesome.
the interaction is there. We support the full spectrum of movement, from all the way from your metahumans on the board to your ground vehicles, hovercraft, all the way up to like airborne VTOLs, things like that.
Cool. The vector map is fabulous. Just how extensive is the map, legend, and admin area, and where does the QR code take us? Someone's taking a close look at that image.
I believe the legend is like 2 inches or 3 inches on the side there, and the QR code takes you to our website,
Cool.
which does not yet have web store enabled, but the follow-on plan for Exit Vector is to enable the web store and to have quarterly support publications for the GMs.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, we'd like to be pushing out a mission every other quarter. So if anyone's familiar with how, kind of like the Shadowrun missions are written, it'll be, generic, like tell it to them straight behind the scenes,
Yeah.
like debugging type thing, so that you as a game master once a quarter could go to the web store and like buy a pre-made mission and have everything
Cool.
necessary to like run your team through a mission.
Awesome.
We also want to be selling supplemental maps as well. So, we'll break out from Seattle and we'll look at, having generic urban terrain, possibly, some generic open terrain, things like that. Some of the more exuberant members of Vector Tridens have been talking about trying to purchase aerial photography of Denver, of
Ooh.
Atlanta, of Yeah, let's not get excited about that just yet. You know, we are a very small company, so
Awesome. All right. Killian Wargear, who's a Shadowrun super fan, asked, why was the first round of this Kickstarter canceled last year? Glad it was because I backed it this time, but curious.
because we are old school and we are not good with social media. So we did not do the necessary logistics groundwork to ensure that the greater Shadowrun and miniature wargaming environment was aware of our goals, was aware of what we were bringing to our table.
Awesome.
So based on kind of like the lackluster performance, we decided to, pause that, go back, get back down to the trenches, start reaching out to people, network. I have to, give a huge shout out to Rem and her team for helping us through that and for like holding our hands and like really like articulating what was necessary to succeed in the Kickstarter environment. And the hard work paid off.
We love you guys. One more question for right now. When it comes to shoot, scoot, sleaze, stabilize to survive, how do drones sleaze, and what is meant by stabilize?
So drones currently cannot sleaze. The sleaze mechanic is solely the purview of metahumans inside the game. It represents an electronic warfare attack. And stabilize is essentially like repair on the fly. So, if in the middle of like everyone's seen it, right? The Millennium Falcon is flying away from the Imperial cruisers, and like Han and Chewie are in back trying to fix the hyperdrive. That's exactly what stabilize is. It's you in the cockpit of your aircraft and desperately scrabbling to punch in circuit breakers and like put your chewing gum on whatever like leaking hydraulic line is like spraying hot hydraulics on you. That's what that mechanic is designed to reflect.
Awesome.
Is that, in the heat of combat, like aircraft are going to take hits, vehicles are going to take hits, but systems can survive. And part of being a good rigger, a good pilot is like knowing how to like execute emergency procedures and like isolate damaged systems and possibly affect like immediate repairs so that you can stay in the fight.
Cool. Awesome. All right, there's Leviathan's question for me. Any update on Leviathan's Kickstarter? Yes, we do have an update with a couple of elements in it that we are crafting right now. I don't want to give it all away, but we are kind of stalling to post the backer update because we're waiting on a tabletop simulator link. So we really want that to be in the next update. We don't want to, if we can't get it within the next days, we'll probably post anyway, but I really want to have that for the next update. So I've been stalling a little bit on letting Tyler push the button on that. What new Shadowrun source books are on the horizon? That's a good question. I do have a couple of titles for you. I can cheat and go look at the product schedule. Ha ha ha. All right. Shadowrun. Oh, you do? What's the one you know?
I know that Deadly Arts is coming.
Cool. Yeah. Deadly Arts still has a ways to go, but it's in production, or it's being made. Lethal Harvest is coming. There's in May is Needle's Eye. I don't remember what that one's about from the meetings. Because I haven't gotten to start promoting it yet. Final Bets is scheduled for July. Tarnished Star is like law enforcement kind of one. Yeah, and then I see Deadly Arts. I see, Lethal Harvest. Smooth Operations is another one too that's coming. So I have names. I don't know what they're about, but more is coming. All right, let's see. Next up, I have Lashua asks, can there be text summaries of the Tuesday Newsdays afterwards? I get this question every week. I don't have a producer. It's just me, and I'm so busy. So I have not gotten to do that. I did ask our customer service person that's been answering the emails and stuff if he has time to take those notes and get them to me, I can get them updated, and we can get a post out. But I just can't do it. So I definitely need a producer for this so that I can level up. So we were talking before the stream about how I'd love to have music in the starting soon screen. I'd love to I'd love to level a lot up, but I'm just not there yet with time. Let's see, for battletech questions, any update on the Urban Mech Lamb pack and the first Star League pack? They are both, I believe, in the warehouse now. I do not know the street dates that have been set for that. We just got someone new that's like distribution in place. So I would have to ask him. Now keep in mind that like the premium mech just dropped and nobody told me about it until today. So sometimes I find out about things after they've already launched on the online store. But I will have to try to get that date. I do not have it. Other than saying very, very, very soon. Do we have a release window yet for Battletech Universe? I can't remember if that one is releasing after Kickstarter fulfillment. If it's exclusive to the, not exclusive, if it's a reward for the Kickstarter, I think it was just a stretch goal, which means it could be released sooner. But I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know for sure yet. So it's either going to come like during Kickstarter fulfillment or after. But no, I don't have a date yet on that. Phoenix Risen asked a question for Rem to follow up on. There was some chatter a couple years ago about Roll20 support for Destiny and A Time of War. Any news on that? I know there's been a couple of conversations with Roll20 and other virtual tabletops about playing or about like an agreement getting things on there. I'm not sure where any of those fall. I know that with the Kickstarter, like that is taken all the oxygen out of the room. So like that's been the focus of the year. So I don't really have any news on that. Everyone is busy. Let's see. Magnum Morbius asks, you said that the Mercenaries Kickstarter is still updating. Do we have a guesstimate as to when the next update will be? I'm expecting any day now. I know that Tyler sent me some language this morning to kind of review, to put into the next backer update, but it's going to have multiple like parts to it because we want to talk about like what was fixed. We want to talk about when the updates are done. We want to talk about like how to reach out to us if you have questions and stuff like that. So there's a few things that need to go in there. I know too, the other thing that we haven't gotten to talk about because we are kind of taking our time is that like once all of the shipping stuff calms down, we'll be ready to fulfill PDF for source books. So if you bought a source book, we can fulfill the PDF version for you. So, but like everything's been about shipping for weeks now. So it takes time. I mean, 25,000 backers, it's gonna take time. But I'm expecting like any day now. But if anything else pops up, it pushes our timeline back. So, Conductive Fire, to clarify, even if we can now see a shipping price on backer kit, it may still be updated before the next backer update. It could be. I know that there's like another file that's going through soon that they separated out for a couple of different, like UK had some issues and stuff like that. It could stay the same. It could change. I don't know until you hear that it's final from a backer update on the Kickstarter page. I don't know the nuance of it. If there's been a change in my shipping in the backer kit for the Mercenaries Kickstarter, is that change final? Again, I don't know. It could be, it could not be. Wait for the backer update to tell you. Let's see. So yeah, I think that's pretty much shipping at this point. Like until we have something to tell you, we're working through it, and we don't want to say anything before we're ready to say it. If we tell some people to check that some people are done and other people aren't, it just gets everyone upset. So just wait for us to say that it's done, and we'll get back to you. Another question came through for you, Grendel. Exit Vector immediately has Shadowrun vibes, but does it mesh with Battletech 2? Would CGL aerospace fighters, or with CGL aerospace fighters like the Shylone?
So the answer to that question is maybe. And I would like to be more firm on that, but we have not yet gone through and done the math yet for all of the aerospace assets in Battletech. The intention is that Exit Vector will be useful and portable into the Battletech universe, but I can't give you a thumbs up on that yet. It's in the works.
Cool. Oh, hey, Ray. Good to see you. I see you in chat. The Old Dragoon asks, when can we expect to see the Shadowrun first reprint on the streets? I think that the plan was Gen Con, but I'm not sure how that's going with all of the art scans and everything that went through. So that's something I'll have to follow up on and hear about in the next Shadowrun meeting. Let's see. Also, does CGL have the old manuscripts when Shadowrun was going to use D10s instead of D6s? Tom Dowd talked about it. I don't know if we do or not. If it was FASA days, probably not. We don't have anything from FASA except what we've bought and scanned into a computer ourselves, like for first edition. So unknown what is in the archives or the vaults in terms of that. All right. I know also, just because I saw a question from last week that came through, there is a print-on-demand version of Clan Spaniel that is now available on the online store, so you can check that link out. It is posted to our socials, so that's fun. I want the clan pupper. But yeah, that's all of our questions. Any final ones that come through? If not, we may just end a couple minutes early and say goodbye. But what do you think, Grendel? Anything else you want to say about Kickstarter, about Shadowrun, about life?
Well, this year's the 35th anniversary of Shadowrun. I heard that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on at Origins and Gen Con to support the 35th anniversary.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I also heard there's a rumor that there's going to be a Shadowrun cosplay contest at Gen Con this year.
Ooh, that would be fun. I haven't been in too many of those conversations yet, so I don't know much about it. I know that we are planning to do GameholeCon in Madison this year, and we're going to have a whole Shadowrun lounge up there. So I'm trying to get
I am planning on coming to that as well. So.
Yay! That'll be so fun. I need to talk to Chopper too about more neon since he's a DJ.
Indeed. Yep. He's your man. So yes, right. I am fully planning on coming to GameholeCon and I have some logistics question about that we can take offline. But awesome. Yeah, it's a big year for Shadowrun. So
awesome. All right. Well, just taking a quick look at the chat here. Let's see. 40th anniversary box sets will be available. I believe those are also in the warehouse. I might be wrong on those, but I feel like those ones were there when I saw them. So it's just getting sell sheets and street dates out and getting a release schedule for them. So sooner the better. It should be any time now. Again, I would have to check in with our new distribution guy, who is so overwhelmed, I'm sure. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for joining me, Grendel. Really appreciate you. I always like talking to you. Of
course, absolutely, Ram. I always appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you and talk shop.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. We will be back next week. Next week, my travel schedule does begin May 13th. So we may have little intermittent breaks of these, but if I'm available and not at an event, I can be on. But if an event is actually happening on a Tuesday, then I cannot. But stay tuned. We will put posts out if we cannot make it. But we should be back here next week. And again, I'm hoping for that big announcement. We were told we can announce it the end of this week. So I might have Jason Hardy on next week. Here's hoping. But otherwise, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one.